This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles, on the Rockstar Radio Network. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money, and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by Author U and the Book Shepherd on the Rockstar Radio Network. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, it's another fabulous author and publishing day here at Your Guide to Book Publishing, and there's always some people who you think that, oh, this is going to be a rock star program. And my guest for this hour is an amazing woman. She has got a huge pedigree just with the publishing industry, with over 20 years prior to starting her own company with Simon & Schuster in Rodeo, where she personally brought 150 books to New York Times bestseller stardom. She's also known as a brand evangelist. She's a buzz marketer. She knows more things than a gazoo does about media strategy. She's an author herself. She's, as I said, a very experienced publishing executive. And Forbes magazine, which is not small potatoes in the business world, has named her as one of the top 30 women entrepreneurs to follow on Twitter. So with that said, and you will know her as a brand you type of person. We're going to be talking about publishing, of really why do books get rejected and what's going on, as well as overall branding. So I'm honored to welcome Cindy Ratzloff to the Your Guide to Book Publishing show. Hi, Cindy. How are you today?
Hi, Judith. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on.
You are so welcome. Well, there is just so freaking much to talk about in this world, because I sent you an email. We really do have two shows that we're talking about here. One is what's going on in publishing, because you really can give the behind the scenes of what goes on in those decision rooms. Why do some books get picked up and some don't? So I think that might be a good question to start with. Why do some authors get rejected by publishers, and why do some of them just get a standard, I'm sorry, this doesn't fit on our list, or they get maybe a little bit more detailed rejection letter back? So let's start there.
Sure. You know, I spent 20 years in traditional book publishing, and most of that time I was in the marketing and PR team. And so we would sit at the table with the editors, and the editor who first looks at your manuscript is your advocate to the rest of the company. So the editor first has to love the manuscript. And once the editor loves the manuscript, he or she takes it to the entire team, the marketers, the PR people, the manufacturing team, and he or she presents it as something she'd very much like to work on and she thinks is right for the house. Then the marketing and the PR and the sales team all say whether or not they think they can market and sell the book. So there are different people at the table looking over your project and deciding, first of all and foremost, the editor, is it good? Is it well written? Does it read well? Is it fascinating? And would this editor enjoy spending his or her time helping you hone it and craft it into the best possible book it can be? Then the sales team who goes out and presents these books to bookstores and to online venues and every place that sells books tells you whether or not they think there's really a market out there for it. Would bookstore owners like this book and order this book? Would Amazon.com, want this book? What do they see as competition in the marketplace, and how much of a chance do they think this book has of finding its audience once it's on the shelves. And then the marketing team actually says, I know there's a big audience for this, and I know exactly how to reach them, or this is a very tiny niche audience, and it will take a lot of money for us to reach that team, or that end buyer. So those are the conversations that are taking place.
Mm-hmm. How does it vary today? I mean, some of the publishing houses, I certainly know McGraw-Hill works this way, that they have what they call these acquisition editors that go out and they like it and they think they do it, but they really have nothing to do with the book once it comes in-house. It gets passed off to someone else. So how does that vary at the round table today?
Well, the acquisition editor is still the advocate who is actually trying to sell it in-house and make the rest of the team get on board and say, we want this project. It is worth our time and investment to pay this author for this manuscript and then to put all of our time and energy into editing it, marketing it, promoting it, and selling it. So there's a big investment on the part of the publisher, aside from what they pay to the author. So they want to make sure that their investment is smartly made. And one of the first questions that we ask ourselves after we decide that it's a good book, I mean, that's given. Is it a good book? Do we like it? And if the answer to that is a resounding yes by everyone, then the marketing department is the first one to ask a question, and they say, what is this author's platform? How will this author help us sell books so that we have to spend, what we spend can be spent wisely, and the author is our co-marketer. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that they'll ask themselves is, okay, does the author have his or her own radio program? Are they speaking to a large audience on a regular basis? Do they have a speaking agent? Do they go on a speaking tour? Do they have? Are they regularly asked to be a guest on television programs? Do they write a column for a major newspaper, magazine, or big website that has a lot of followers? Do they have a huge social media following? That's become more important in the last 4 years than ever before.
What do you call a huge social media following? What are the parameters?
Well, I would say that if you have, if as a publisher, if I'm sitting at the table and someone comes to me and says they have 50,000 fans on Facebook who speak to them every day, who are really passionately engaged, and those fans have also subscribed to their weekly newsletter, I would be very impressed. If they said they have 5,000 fans on Facebook, but all 5,000 of them, or at least 3,000 of them, are coming back on a regular basis, interacting, commenting, sharing, and that at least 3,000 to 5,000 of those people have, again, come over to the website of the author and interacted with them in some way. That tells me that they are able to take their fans from Facebook and incentivize them to do something, to take an action, because I'm going to want to know that the author can incentivize those fans to buy the book. Mm-hmm. So if they've been able to ask those fans to join their mailing list, that's an action that the fans actually had to do something. They had to leave Facebook and sign up for the newsletter. That tells me even more than just a page that has 10,000 fans and no newsletter.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of the authors are dropping newsletters and going to blogs just strictly. So it's the same issue. How many blog followers do you have?
Yeah, how many people are subscribing to your blog RSS feed, or I'd even be swayed by the number of comments on each blog post. I've recently been talking to mom bloggers, and there are some mom bloggers who have 400,000 unique visitors every month. And in any given week, they have 1,000 comments on their blog posts.
Mm-hmm. That's huge. That's huge. Yeah,
it's huge. And so what I know is that those people have tapped into their ultimate niche audience, and that the women who are there following their blog are passionate about the topic. And the one that the one that I have in mind at the moment is a craft blogger. So she's blogging about crafting with children. So if she came to me with a book idea, I would know that she has the ability to really move people, and that if she writes something, her core fan base is going to want to purchase it.
I'm a big believer in having a niche. I think the more you niche yourself, the bigger your market is, because you become so well known. And I think your example for your craft, and mommies, I know mommies are online all the time.
And they're very supportive of each other.
Yeah.
The whole idea of collaboration to promote your books is really the way to go these days. Is not to set out and be the lone author trying to promote everything, but to make sure that you follow and talk to other authors, encourage them in their work, share their good news with your friends, fans, and followers, and then invite them to do the same with you, to really, join forces, to speak to readers, people who love books, and find your niche and find other people in your niche and make friends.
So, Cindy, when you were looking at proposals from authors, and we've got a minute before we go to our first break, so we can do this as a split response, but when you were looking at proposals for authors, what did you exactly want to see that would move them to the top of the pile, besides you loved the idea?
I wanted to see an author who I believed would work very, very hard to promote themselves. I also wanted to see an author who had a promotable idea. Not every idea is media worthy, even if it might be a great idea. And I was really looking for books that I could pitch to major networks or to magazines that I knew were media worthy.
And when you're saying pitching, of course, you're always referring to your publicity teams.
Yes, exactly.
Within that.
Yeah, because the networks and the newspapers, they're really trading time for space. So your idea has to be great. Perfect.
All right. So when we come back, we're going to come back to this topic, because if you're wanting to go to New York, you got to have the right stuff in your proposal. I'm Judith Briles. It's your guide to book publishing.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Is there a book in you or another? Author U will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. Author U brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through Author U's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content-heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, Author U is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join Author U today through its website at authoru.org. Follow Author U on Twitter at Author U and on Facebook at Author U, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. Author U, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
Change the way you publish online. WaveCloud is a new forum for authors to manage all their books' information in one place from start to finish, including pricing and listing summary. To learn more or sign up for email updates, visit wavecloud.com.
Every picture tells a story. And it's a truism that people do judge a book by its cover. Nick Sellinger and NZ Graphics have been in the business of producing superior graphic cover design and interior layout for self-published authors, independent and traditional publishers for years. He has developed a reputation for excellent work, fast turnarounds, and best of all, affordable pricing. NZ Graphics also produces ebooks and book marketing materials such as posters, sell sheets, postcards, bookmarks, business cards, logos, and more. Books designed for his clients have won multiple book awards, including Best Book Award by U.S. Book News, multiple Evie Awards from the Colorado Independent Publishers Association, Indie Book Awards, the San Francisco Book Festival Award, and Freedom Medal Award from Valley Forge. Visit www.nzgraphics.com or call 303-985-4174 for more details about making your book the success it should be. Mention that you are an FOJ, friend of Judith's, and that you heard about NZ Graphics on your guide to book publishing.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask on the Rockstar Radio Network. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
With me this hour is Cindy Ratzloff, who is an amazing brander. She's also a someone who has a pedigree that goes on forever in publishing, where she spent 20 years with two of the biggies, Simon & Schuster and Rodale, and left in 2007 and took her smarts, and it's R plus, because now she is showing how authors, and we'll get into it before we leave this hour, to really become their own marketing expert and learn how to do this. And that's what one of her skills that she does and her website is brandu. Or you go to, is it brandu.org? No, com?
It's CindyRatzloff.com.
Oh, we go. All right, so we go to Cindy's name itself. So it's Cindy, C-I-N-D-Y, and then R-A-T, T as in Tom, Z as in zebra, L-A-F-F, and that's like frank.com. And then I would highly recommend you all follow her on Twitter, which is at brandu for that. So with that, we were talking about the whole area of what you wanted to see ideally in a proposal. So what are the things that when you were looking at the table for our authors who would like to go the New York route, what would you like to see, or what would you not like to see omitted, let's say?
Mm-hmm. I wanted to see that the author was, we actually liked meeting the authors in person if we already liked their proposal, because I, as a PR and marketing person, wanted to evaluate, would they be good on radio? Would they be good on television? Would they make a powerful speaker if I could book a speaking engagement for them? Did they have charisma? And it's sad to say that, the economics are such that you can't just be a darn good writer anymore. We really do need you to also be able to turn your passion from the page to the stage, literally. I need you to be able to sell by simply sharing your enthusiasm and your excitement about your topic verbally. So I would be looking at you, you don't have to be beautiful, you don't have to be old, you don't have to be young, you don't have to be anything physically. What you have to do is have a certain spark when you talk about your topic. And so that's why we always like to meet the authors whose proposals we really loved.
Yeah, well, that's the passion factor that I get into. If you don't have the passion about your book and the vision to go with it, you're dead. You have to have that. All right, so you talk about, and I led into this, about the author has really got to be their own best marketing director. So what do you exactly mean by that?
Well, each of the publishing houses is operating with fewer staff members than they had ever before and a smaller budget than they ever had before. So they're trying to do the best that they can for your book, but ultimately your book and you, the author, are your own personal brand. So you can't rely on someone else to do all of your marketing. You need to find out what the publisher is going to do and then add to it, build onto it, amplify what they do, and do your own things and make sure you let the publisher know so they can amplify what you do. For example, I would recommend that every author write 2 to 3 500 to 600 word essays that are on the topic of their book, but not exactly word for word from their book. So if you wrote a book on parenting, you might write an article called Why Spanking Matters.
Okay.
And then you would offer that article to big parenting websites like Parents Magazine, Parenting, Parade. Even though Parade's not a parenting magazine, they actually do things on parenting. So you would look around, and as a parenting expert, you already know which websites or magazines you read, and they're of interest to you. So you would go out and pitch your article, your original article, to them and say, I would like to give you this article for you to run in your magazine free of charge, and if you would like me to, I would also be happy to do an online interview and a web chat with your readers.
Mm-hmm.
So you go out there and you give, and the most important thing is information that does not exist elsewhere in that form. It's an original essay. And if you have 3, maybe 5 at the most of those available in your pocket, as your book is being published, or just before your book is being published, you go out and you offer those to very high visibility websites. You'll be a co-marketer with your publisher. So you're trying to create PR and marketing opportunities as well as that your publisher is doing. So you're a partner.
Well, isn't that what authors have to do anyway today? I mean, what we hear from all of them is that publishers basically are budgeting Zippo towards marketing monies, and they expect the author pretty much to take it and run with it.
Yeah, I mean, here's what, to speak on behalf of all publishers everywhere.
Uh-oh.
Here's what I'll say. Here's what they do with their marketing dollars, and this is really important.
Oh, that's good to know. All right.
Yes, they put you in their catalog, and their catalog goes out to every every book selling venue around. So they list you on their database so that everybody knows where to find the book. Their hand selling sales force goes out and shows your book through the catalog to everyone that they sell to. The special sales team goes out to outlets that sell gifts like Hallmark and things like that, and presents your book to people. In addition to that, the marketing dollars pay for what's called point of purchase. So if you ever see a book on an end cap, that little end shelf in a bookstore, in Target, in Sam's Club, in Walmart, in a regular bookstore, that's marketing dollars at work. That costs money. That point of purchase, where your book is placed in the bookstore, every single speck of space is purchased.
I'm clear on that.
Sign up.
But Cindy, I haven't been in a bookstore, and I'm, a bookstore lover. And in fact, the Author U, which is one of our sponsors, Author U has a big event on July 23rd, co-sponsored by the Tattered Cover here in Denver, Colorado.
One of the great bookstores.
It is one of the great bookstores. And that when I look at end sales, I mean, they're unique. They're unique. Those independents really are unique. But when I go into a mainstream like a Barnes & Noble or whatever, that it is all the big boys that are there. That, whether it's Grissom's latest book or Baldacci's greatest books, or any of the big names that are out there. And my experience right now is that the publishers that used to so really rely actually on some of their backlist people, the people that would come in and the middle of the road, just don't put any monies toward them at all. It's almost like Velcro publishing. Well, if it hits and sticks, good for them.
Well, there is some truth to that. There's also something called seasonal promotions.
Yes.
So if your book has any kind, there are traditional seasonal promotions throughout the bookstores. There's a sports table in July. There's gardening starts to come out in January, actually, because that's when people are dreaming about their gardens and planning their gardens. There are the Mother's Day
no
fiction,
snow.
I know. There are the Mother's Day fiction tables. There's the back to school season. So there's certain marketing opportunities built in throughout the year for books that are not John Grisham and Mary Higgins Clark and Anne Rule and all of the major, so many of the major players, and a lot of books find their audience in that way. But
I have a question then.
Yeah,
Cindy. So, if an author, let's say they're taking your advice, and I'm going to be becoming my marketing expert, would a bookstore, like going into the local Barnes and Noble or a tattered cover like I have here in Denver, Colorado, could I go in? I mean, I know I could get this information at tattered cover, but I'm just the average author. Can they go in and just say? Ask. So tell me about your seasonal calendar. Which books are you? Which genres are you going to be promoting throughout the year? Would they have a set calendar for that?
Boy, they do. Whether or not they'd share that, that's a very good question. But here's what I would recommend that authors do. Even at a Barnes & Noble, even at a Walmart, I would go in, and especially at a really good independent bookstore, I would go in and I would ask to meet with the merchandising manager or the author relations manager, and I would introduce myself as a local author.
Yep.
I would say, I'm a local author. I live here. My book is coming out soon, or at this time. This is the topic of it, and I want to be the best possible marketing partner with you.
Absolutely. And you know what? We're going to come back to that because Tattered Cover has that person. All right, we'll be right back. I'm Judith Briles. My guest this hour is Cindy Ratzloff, an amazing branding expert.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Since 1987, Color House Graphics has set the standard for quality book production. Whether you decide to print a small quantity of books or need a large print run, depend on Color House to help you. You'll receive professional help and advice the moment you reach one of our representatives. If you mention hearing about us on your guide to book publishing with Judith Briles, we will provide you a discount on the first order you place. To speak with a project manager, call us toll-free at 800-454-1916 or visit us at www.colorhousegraphics.com.
Do you need postcards that make a statement? How about business cards, flyers, brochures, or NCR forms? Two Vets is the solution for all your printing needs. Providing services specially designed for authors, we deliver exceptional quality colored printing. Most important of all, we specialize in reducing your printing costs. No more waiting. No more standing in lines at your local printer. Online proofing. With our pricing tools calculator, you can get instant quotes on all your printing products, as well as shipping rates all over the United States. Just a few clicks of the mouse and you're on the way to discovering how easy and convenient online color printing should be. Contact our friendly, human account representatives. We recognize that you want answers, not voice prompts. Visit our website at www.tu-vets.com or call 1-800-894-8977.
When Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers, creating beautiful and well-made books. We're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, enhancing the promotion of your book during infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask on the Rockstar Radio Network. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Always at this point of the show, we love to bring on one of our sponsors, and one of our very favorite people is Henry Ayala out in California. And Henry is the brains behind Two Vets Printing. And whenever I do new business cards, when I have special flyers, when I do bookmarks for my marketing or promotional, or I actually, which I've talked about on a previous show, I don't give bookmarks away. I put a fabulous tassel that Henry puts in them. And I figured our cost was, is it around 25 cents a bookmark by the time we do that, Henry?
Yeah, that's right, Judith.
Yeah, okay, so, and we sell them for $5. So, and we
wait a minute, I'm going to have to increase my prices slightly.
Trade secret here. All right, so Henry, welcome.
Judith. Thank you, Judith. I wanted to talk today about our summer combo sale. We're asking customers if they're interested in bundling three of our most popular items, our business cards, our postcards, and our flyers. If they bundle and order the three items at one time, they'll get a whopping 25% discount off of the whole package. This is a tremendous value. And really, the focus of your show today is marketing. And really, that's what we do, is we print material that helps your authors do targeted marketing. We don't really get involved much in the great big mass marketing, hundreds of thousands of pieces, but you need 1,000, 2,000 pieces for particular advertising. These are tremendous ways to do it. You have to consider printing in part of your mix of marketing. It's not just all Internet, although the Internet is great. But
no, but you know what? I'm going to jump in here because your postcards are superb. And I made millions of dollars in speaking fees using as part of my campaign, where I would send them, as soon as, let's say I booked a gig in Atlanta, Georgia, I would go into my database, everybody who was in Georgia, Alabama, Florida, the surrounding states, they got a postcard saying, I am going to be in your neck of the woods here if you book before or after, save on my fees. We always got at least 2 gigs out of that. Always.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Something in hand is much more personal, and
absolutely.
Yeah, and so if anybody is interested, please feel free to call me, or better yet, just email me, Henry@twovets.com. That's TU-VETS. And I'm always more than happy to speak to all of my customers. I particularly enjoy publishers as customers because they're selling something that's part of their being.
Yeah,
so,
and
very
Henry.
Passionate.
All right, and so I'll just add on. We came up with this between the two of us. We brainstormed putting these QR codes with the name of your whether it's your website or your book or whatever you're trying to lead them to it on a ring. Literally, you can put on a bracelet, which I was wearing around, but you take these, they're like little 1-inch stickers. Henry's idea was to put the name underneath so people would know what it was, and you could put them on the back of a business card. You can put them anywhere. You can put it inside of your book to remind people to go to where you're trying to get them go. And Henry has a great special on that too. So Henry, before you sign off, give us your 800 number as well.
The number here is 800-894-8977.
All right, 894-8977. Thanks, Henry.
Thanks, Judith.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right, Cindy. So we're into promotion. Henry and I do a lot of promotions, marketing over the years.
And Henry's right. You know, the Internet is wonderful, and I think it's a fantastic tool, but those live events where you get to share your passion about your topic in person and hand something to someone and really make a connection, those are worth, every person you meet in person is worth about 100 of the people that you are talking to online.
Oh, there's no question. Even the postcards, which I always put my book cover on it, and I had several of them, and I had printed on the other side a deal, and I left a little space where I could write something that I was going to be there. Yeah. I would have secretaries telling me, he says, my boss has had your postcard on her desk for months.
Love it.
And that's the staying power. You need to understand. Don't ignore using print ideas on that. All right, so let's come. We opened up on the New York Times, and what makes it? What is a New York Times bestseller? How do you get there? And should we really care?
So people always ask me how many books do you have to sell to become a New York Times bestseller?
Good question.
And the answer is that it's much more complicated than that. If you are published on February 2nd in the dead of winter, and you're publishing a women's fiction novel, and all of the other women's fiction novels are being published in April for Mother's Day, and you are you've done a gigantic event and 1,000 people buy your book in that week, you could hit the bestseller list. If you publish that same book in April up against all of the other women's fiction writers who are being marketed and promoted that same week, and they sell 30,000 books, you will not hit the bestseller list.
Oh, no, you disappear.
Yeah, so the bestseller list is based on the number of books you sold in 1 week against all other books in that category. So, for example, if you're a fiction writer, you're going to hit the fiction list. If you are a how-to writer, you're going to hit the self-help how-to list. That's called self-help how-to miscellaneous. Mm-hmm. If you're a nonfiction writer, you'll hit a strict nonfiction list. So there are a different number of slots available on each of those lists, but all of them make you a bestseller. So let's just talk fiction for a second. If you are a hardcover fiction writer, it'll be however many books you sold against however many books all other fiction writers sold in that week. And it gets even more complicated than that because the New York Times has a special list of bookstores that they poll. And they ask those bookstores, what were your best-selling books this week? Mm-hmm. And so these are self-reported sales. The New York Times does not use an automated system or book scan numbers. They have a very old and antiquated way of doing this. So it's really about a select group of bookstores and online venues reporting to the New York Times what their bestsellers are. It's a very elite list, and it's not as accurate as strict BookScan numbers. And BookScan numbers are literally numbers that are reported to the BookScan people because they have crossed over a scanning device at a store.
And as you know, especially for speakers, an example, they can sell they could pre-buy books, or they have a relationship with a distributor or wholesaler, and they buy, 10,000 books, which they could do over a period of time. Those don't show up in that scan.
They do not. And so you literally could sell 3 times more than somebody who hits the bestseller list.
Yep.
So if your goal is to hit the bestseller list, you want to make sure that all of your sales go through bestseller reporting avenues. And Amazon would be one of them, Barnes & Noble would be one of them, all your, local bookstores. But as an author, you also have the opportunity to buy your books at a discount and resell them directly from your publisher. But those are not going to be reported.
All right, so now I'm going to go, yes, they don't get reported. Now, there's another question, though, that begs to ask, because we talked about the seasonal time within a bookstore, that they have these promotions. So is there a time that an author could find out? So when do all the fiction books come out? So you just told us Mother's Day is hot for women.
Or Mother's Day.
So April would be that, but coming out with a great fiction book in January or February, as you said, that's a great strategy. So how do we find out? How do we find out those others?
Well, you could go to your local bookstore and talk to that local author manager within the store and say to them, I'm planning on bringing my book out. Say you're self-published. I'm planning on bringing my book out sometime in the next 6 months to a year. Really do this early. And I very much want to sync up my launch with the traditional marketing opportunities. I would like to be someone who is carried in your store, and I would like to help you promote that. And here are some of the ways that I might promote that. What's best for you?
Perfect.
How could I best partner?
Yeah, and that is what they need to hear. So when we come back, we'll have a few more minutes on this and then move into another direction. But Cindy is so right on. These are inside strategies. Pay attention. I'm Judith Briles. We'll be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Writing and reading are moving to the cloud. WaveCloud represents a whole new community for writers and readers to connect, communicate, evaluate, and share. Writers hone their craft and build their business. Readers build their favorites. Sign up for updates at wavecloud.com.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems. You want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher or by a publishing service provider or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today, 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207, or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at MyBookShepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask on the Rockstar Radio Network. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, our last segment. These things always go so fast, but I often say that you should hear our dialogue when we're off the air between my guests and myself. and Cindy made this fabulous. Cindy Ratzloff is my guest, and you will find her at cindyratzloff.com and follow her on Twitter, please, at brand you, and that's a YOU. That if you really want to see, because she is really on top of the social media world, especially in the publishing and author arena. And of course, follow Author You at Author You, because Author You has a phenomenal amount of variety of information that's come out. And I want to let everybody know that AuthorU.org, if you go to AuthorU.org, their brand new e-zine is out yesterday, and it's the July-August edition. It's all 37 pages. It's a freebie, so sign up for it so you get it every month. Okay, so Cindy, we were talking about, and you used the phrase, ask what the low point is so that you can dominate the...
Yeah. Just, talk to that local bookstore and say, when do you see a lull in publishing? When is there the least amount of competition? Because I want to come in, publish my book then, and drive sales to you and help you have business then and help my book succeed. And you're just becoming a partner with the bookstore. Who isn't going to want you to drive sales to them? And that's so important for authors to remember. You have to drive people to those outlets as opposed to, yes, you can sell them yourself. You should certainly always sell books when you're in the back of the room, when you're live at events, etc. But driving sales through those people who believed in you enough to carry your books will always be of benefit to you, because the next book you write, they're going to want to carry that book too.
And they will be your cheerleader. They will cheerlead for you, which is important. Now, the other thing that Cindy and I are talking about is that I know that our listeners who are members of Author You know that you, as a membership, we can bring you national distribution. That happens. But you need to understand this and get this about national distribution, because one of the ego things as authors, I want my book in the bookstore. I had an email today from one of our members saying, I'm so excited, I'm in New York, I see my book in Barnes & Noble. That is freaking hot. But are you telling people to go to Barnes & Noble to buy it? And you've got to do that. That's part of your responsibility as an author. If you want your book to show up in a bookshelf on a bookstore, you got to tell people to go get it and buy it.
You have to think about it as though you're renting real estate. Your book is actually taking up a piece of real estate in their store, and if it doesn't pay the rent, if it doesn't sell, they're going to take it off the shelf and replace it with a book who can. So you want to make sure you're driving customers into that store to pick it off the shelf so they'll replace it with your book.
And that is a great analogy, the real estate. And authors they just don't think that way, Cindy. It's just not common, and they have to start doing that. All right. I wanted you to jump into blog tours because they're hot, hot, hot. What are some of the do's and don'ts?
Well, some of the do's and don'ts are, first of all, you need to do your research ahead of time. You can't call or write to a blogger and say, my book comes out next Thursday, won't you write about it? That won't happen. You need to have a relationship with that blogger. That blogger is, just like the bookstore has real estate, the blogger has real estate. And the blogger has fans and followers who love what they do. So do your research and figure out which blogs and which readers of which blogs are a close match with your niche topic. And then follow that blogger for a little while. Comment on what they've done. Thank them for the great content that they share. Establish a relationship with them by showing that you're a reader. You know what they write about. And then, so keep yourself a little list. Keep a journal of all of the blogs that you really enjoy, that you think are such a close fit with you. And then about 6 months, maybe 3 months at the most, before you're ready to publish your book, write an email to each of these bloggers and say, my book, XYZ, is coming out on May 1st. It's about this. I would love to write a unique article for you. Do a giveaway on your blog. Invite you to share this book with your readers in the following way. I'd be happy to do a radio interview with you, a telephone interview, a podcast, a webinar. I would do anything I could to reach your readers. How can we make that happen? I will make it easy for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, and so they're either interested or they're not.
Exactly. And one of the ways in which you can do that is to offer a book as a giveaway prize and something else. So in your marketing dollars, as you say you write about decluttering, and you've got this great book about decluttering, so you're going to offer these bloggers a copy of your book, which is worth $24.95, and a gift certificate to the Container Store for $40 or $50. So now your book and the gift certificate equals $75. That's really valuable to that blogger. That blogger gets to go out and say to his or her readers, win a $75 prize by, doing XYZ. And they're going to show a picture of your book and a picture of the gift card, and you're going to offer them a little blog post to go along with it. So they promote your book, and your marketing dollars of just $50 for that card and whatever it costs you to ship them the book gets you an enormous amount of visibility and chatter, because they'll write about it on their blog, they'll post on their Facebook, they'll tweet about it on Twitter. You can go in and they might even pin it to Pinterest, and then you can go in and retweet them and share their blog and share their post and ask your friends to do the same, and you have the ability to reach thousands of people that way, all for the $50 gift card and the cost of your book.
And you're just proposing one per blog. You're not doing multiples per blog, just one.
I'm proposing one per blog, and I'm actually proposing that you set yourself a little blog tour calendar so that so there are not 5 bloggers giving away your book and a gift card in the same week, but that you tell the bloggers, you're the only one I'm offering this to for the week of May 30th to June 2nd. Mm-hmm. And then you slot them into your calendar so that they all know that they have something unique during that week and nobody else is giving it away during that week.
So you do it as exclusive, and you run it kind of like a contest, and you just do a random selection of whoever gets it?
You actually let the blogger decide how they're going to do it.
So they stay in control. Okay.
You say to the blogger, I love your blog. I know your audience is a close fit with the subject of my book. I would like to give you a gift package that you can use as a contest or a giveaway in however way you want to. All I desire is that you include a link to my website and a shout-out saying that this book is new and maybe this particular phrase, and so you give them a little bit of copy. If you include that on your blog, I'm going to give you this $50 gift certificate to the Container Store that I'm going out and purchasing and sending off to you, and my book. And if you want to, I will even pay the postage to send it to the person who wins. I'll hang on to it. You just tell me where, and I'll send it.
So I can personalize it for them.
So you can personalize it for them, exactly. And then you say to them, I will even write an original guest blog for your website if you think that would be valuable. I would so love to reach your readers, and I know that you and I are talking the same language.
Oh, excellent, excellent advice. I know that one of our listeners, and actually I've had her on guest, and she is also has joined AuthorU, but she did a blog tour over a whole month, and she figured the total people, possible readership, listenership, was 17 million.
Yeah.
That's how powerful it can be. And she has since, she sold 15,000 books in one day on Amazon. And
I love that.
Yeah, isn't that fun? And it's just, this is someone who started on their own. She is in total control of it. She's calling the shots. I mean, she's working with her distributor on it. But when you look at what Mara Pearl's done in her book, What the Heart Knows, she really has masterminded, and she's done it very strategically over a year's period of time.
Yeah, and you could do that for a backlist book too. Say your book was published last year and the sales were pleasant, but the publisher's not doing anything with it now because they've moved on to the new things. Mm-hmm, you can go back and reinvigorate sales on that book by doing the exact same thing, reaching out to radio programs, reaching out to bloggers, offering them something unique and special, but the key is knowing what they write and talk about, and not just doing a scattershot approach, but really targeting those, radio programs and websites and blog sites that are spot on to you. They respect the fact that you know and have looked at their stuff. If
exactly.
a dear blog owner.
Yeah, the BB gun, the BB gun scattered gun shit never works. Well, Cindy, we are literally out of time. So we have so much more to talk about. I would love to have you back again.
I would love that.
And get into it, and really get into actually branding, some of the real branding strategies that you do for your clients. I'm Judith Riles. You're listening to Your Guide to Book Publishing. Look forward to having you back with us again. And remember, AuthorU is for the serious author who wants to be seriously successful. So if you want to learn about publishing, if you want to learn about authoring, do get involved with AuthorU.org. And please reach out.
Being a part of Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles.